downhill's just as tough.
Yeah, it is. Because you're going whether you like it or not.
Oh my god.
The mountain's like, no, no, no. You're going.
Oh.
You can be sideways, upside down, vertical, inside out, but you're going down.
Yeah.
Well, what's going on, guys? This is Carl with the Racerred channel. Out here riding some amazing single track so far. This trail's been awesome. A lot of loose, rocky, bouldery stuff that definitely throws us around. I'm riding with my buddy Kurt. He's an awesome rider. He's fun to go riding with, good company. I try to go riding with him as often as I can. Usually I ride during the week, so it's tough with most people. But I find that Tuesdays usually work for him, so that works pretty good. But when I'm solo, things get nerve-wracking a lot faster. I get nervous out here. I would not be this far out if I was solo, I think. Of course, I don't know. I went this far out the other day. My buddy was talking about how he had his super heavy-duty tube fail in the same way that mine failed during the Dakota 600. He had those things rip at the valve stem, and so you have to run dual dual rim locks. So that's annoying to have to worry about, and I think that I would be more interested in something that is just not gonna fail no matter what. I'm riding a 2024 Beta 300 RR. This has the SOX suspension and oil injection. This is not the race model. Personally, I find that the race model is a little bit stiff in the suspension department, not plush enough for trail use. But I bet, and I've heard this from people who own them, that once you get them broken in and adjust them, they are really good. But I know that I like the SOX. There's really nothing wrong with the SOX suspension. My brother had a Beta 200, 2022 model. It was a good bike. It was the RR. We had pretty good luck with that bike. Strong engine. Especially for a 200, that thing did not disappoint. I have discovered something about shorter bikes that I don't like, and that's when you're in a rut going uphill. You can't paddle. It drags your feet behind you. You can't really paddle. And I looked back on the times I was riding with my brother, and he probably had 10 times more issues paddling. Just because the bike was short. Yeah, if you want to paddle up a rut going uphill, a short bike is not beneficial thing to have. So I find myself attempting to keep one foot on. I really had to fight with those bushes just then. Anyways, I try to keep one foot on when I'm coming uphill, especially like the uphill, or the downhill one, I should say. Whereas normally I'd be comfortable with both of them off. A lot of people will probably say, just balance. Just balance. Well, these ruts, I'm telling you, some of these ruts get gnarly. Big boulders everywhere, ruts. This bike really likes this type of trail. This section, it's just really stable. My backpack, however, it does not like this. I've got a lot of weight on my back right now. I can feel that thing. Wow, look how pretty it is in here. So this section of the trail would be pretty deceptive as a representation of the entire trail. I could definitely see marking this as a like 3 difficulty based off of this particular section. But this trail has had me pushing a few times. I've been off the bike pushing. So I would say a bit on the gnarly side. I think we're about to come up on the intersection on the other side. It's got to be pretty close. Hey, and there it is. All right, I'll reconvene. Catch you guys on the next section. Peace. Well, what's going on, guys? This is Carl with the Racerred channel. My buddy took a branch to the face, so he's bleeding and his head hurts. I think he's probably a little concussed. These trips can be a little dangerous. But I'm happy that his eye didn't get hit or anything like that. His goggles. I don't know if they protected him. I think the branch went like in between where the goggle is and his helmet. And messed up his cheek a little bit. He's bleeding from his cheek. But the brunt of it hit him in the head. Gave him a headache. And there are a bunch of those. This trail has been a lot of loose, big softball size boulders that you have to ride. Either that or big, rutty climbs. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's just there are a lot of elements here to look out for sure. This section's a lot flowier and it's faster, but with that comes its own challenges. The worst sections for me aren't even cliff sections or any crazy situation. It's the water for me. I've complained about that way too much, but still, I mean, it's still true. This is the end of this trail. We're gonna connect over. I believe we don't want to go that way. I'm gonna double check though. It's gonna be technical, it looks like, at the beginning, which we don't stray away from technical, but then we're gonna hit a ridge up top and follow a ridge. Yeah, these trails up here, this is an area where you probably aren't gonna get away from gnarly trails. I don't know of any up here. I just don't know this area very well, but from what I've heard, all of this stuff is pretty butt puckering. There's an old car right there in that tree. Yeah, I wonder how that got back here. That was 50s model car. Oh jeez, I don't know what was going on there, but I felt like I had no traction. My front just slid. But you know, the most serious injuries I've seen in my lifetime have all been four-wheelers. Actually, I've heard of some deaths happening with side-by-sides. I think part of the problem is that you can get a sense that you are separate from the environment around you, especially in a side-by-side. The more you separate yourself from the environment around you, the less you have that danger mode in your head that just goes off and says, hey, we need to do a little self-preservation here. And so I think that gets a lot of people on four-wheelers and side-by-sides. Whereas on dirt bikes, you just don't have that luxury. You are out here, you feel everything. Everything that touches against you, you're feeling. If I fall, I fall. I just tip over. Nothing's gonna land on top of me for the most part. I might fall off of a ledge or something, but this bike isn't gonna gain momentum and start cartwheeling with me on it. I will be separate from it. So, although it's a trial by fire situation to learn how to ride a motorcycle, I believe it's safer overall. I think that us dirt bikers, we tend to break stuff like hands and, you know, wrists or ankles and arms and legs, but not actually die. Whereas four-wheelers and side-by-sides, I think they have more crazy situations happen. I'm gonna check my map. Oh, looks like I'm here. That's just right up ahead. See, going through this would be easy on a four-wheeler. You don't have to balance the thing. And it takes a lot of practice on a motorcycle to be able to do even this. to learn how to let the bike move around. Oh, and I almost died. I almost died right there. That was almost me going down. Yeah, sometimes those boulders, they can catch your front wheel, and it's like a conveyor belt. After one boulder catches you, it takes you to the next boulder offline. That one rolls you and takes you to the next one. If that happens 2 or 3 times, you are on full-blown crisis management, just like I was. Hopefully, lead us where we want to go, to a single track. Beautiful single track up here. Surprisingly, it's not real dry and dusty. There's a little bit of soil moisture, and so it keeps things a little bit heavier. Kurt's riding behind me. I'm sure he appreciates the fact that the dust isn't horrible. And there is a little bit of dust, but there's not anything too crazy today. This rear tire is not good for loose stuff. Not good at all. So you really have to carry your momentum if you're doing anything steep and loose. Or, you know, switch to the M5B. My front tire has no, or very few knobs left as well. It seems like it's ancient, I don't know. It just has a lot of knobs gone. But currently, both tires are just how I purchased the bike, so I should really switch that stuff out if I'm going to continue to ride it. Ooh, riding the granite again. This is beautiful stuff up here. But it's not exposure in the sense that you're going to die in most places. It's exposure in the way that if you go off the edge, your bike is essentially gone. Unless you have a helicopter handy. But we're pretty committed. A lot of these trails will have you committed to the point where you've pretty much got to keep going, no matter if you're not comfortable. Once you get deep into the mountains, you can get pretty committed. Man, this is beautiful. Well, we'll see how long I can keep the engine off. I don't think we need to worry about gas, but you never know. Backpack is weighted to the left big time. Switch backing downhill. All right. Feeling a nice breeze. Love the shade. When I'm going, there's a nice breeze. But the temperature is low enough to where it actually keeps you pretty cool. A lot of times when I'm riding along like this, I see something in the corner of my eye and I just can't really make it out. I look over and it's a tree or something. I wonder how often that's actually wildlife that moves, because it takes me a while before I can stop and look. And I cover a lot of ground. Actually, one of the things about riding engine off like this is that you can sneak up on wildlife if you're moving fast enough. But engine on, they can hear you coming from a mile away and just step a couple 100 yards offline and you'll go right by them without even seeing them.
to the majesty of Ross Peak.
It shows a straight path, but I have a feeling it's going to be a rocky straight path.
His name is Racerred. If he wasn't riding, he'd be in bed. He naps during the day. He rides his love in garage bays. Oh, he rides all night, full throttle all the time. Oh, he was born to ride. Red Racer, like, comment, and subscribe.